Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of our reconstruction here of the Antec 900 case. As you can see, I totally have it gutted right now. Pulled out all the components, get it down to the metal here so we can start fabricating on it. Two things that I highly recommend when you're doing a case is, for one thing, get yourself some sort of plastic container, Tupperware container, whatever you might have around, something with a good locking lid to keep all of your screws, standoffs, all your small parts in, because that'll save you a ton of time when it comes time to reassemble it, that you're not looking all over the place for stuff. Another thing is just to get a cardboard box and put all the rest of your bigger pieces in here. That way, once again, things won't get lost. It'll save you a ton of trouble when it comes time to reassemble. But anyway, I'm doing some experimenting to kind of get an idea of how I want to mount the front fans in. I just kind of made a rough cardboard template here to get an idea of the spacing, how big the piece of metal is that I will need to mount in there, as well as what we're going to do as far as the hardware or the hard drive cages. I have to figure out exactly where we want to put the fans, if we want to recess them in, and if they'll be in the way of the hard drives themselves, or if we want to mount them exteriorly to free up the space for the hard drive cages inside here. I don't think I'm going to reuse the cages, just simply because I don't really care for them that much, and they do block some air, make for restrictions inside. I think I'm just going to add some 5 1/4 inch extension rails onto the hard drives, so they will fit in the bay without the cage in it itself. And then I printed out some more templates from MNPC Tech. This happened to be their one for their dual radiator setup. This has got a 15mm fan spacing, which I think is going to be about perfect for what we're doing. I had to print out 2 of them and then cut one off and tape it together to give us a triple fan setup, because they do have triple fan setups, but not with the correct spacing that I wanted for this case. So I'm kind of just making a custom template for it. So I think the next thing we're going to do is see if we can find some scrap metal, maybe from one of our old cases, or maybe a side cover or something that we can mutilate to cut this panel out and get the front fans mounted. And then we'll start with that. I did mark on the back side of the case here, kind of measured off where we're going to put our hole for our CPU access, so we'll be able to change coolers without having to take the motherboard out of the case and mess around with it. Haven't done anything as far as on the bottom yet. Somewhere in this area we're going to cut out the 120mm spot for the power supply. I haven't marked that off yet, I just simply haven't gotten that far. But on the inside of the case, I did make sure I removed the little rubber feet that come in the case here, just because we're probably going to alleviate that when we do the cutting, or at least a couple of them. We can always re-stick them back on in a more appropriate spot. But for now I have to figure out how we're going to do this without affecting where our case feet holes were. I would still like to use the lighted feet in this one, or at least some rendition of it, so we may have to alter that slightly. And then I was just messing around with some window molding. I picked up this stuff, let's see if I can grab it here for you. This is basically just window molding from an auto body store. It is a U-channel type molding. It's not quite the same as what you would get off of like MNPC Tech. It's a little bit thicker, a little heavier. It might be tougher in real small holes to bend it because of that, but the price was really cheap. I got 15 feet of it and I paid like $5 for it. So about 33 cents a foot, so not too bad for what we're planning on doing. I just wanted something to go inside the holes here. I may be making another hole or 2 for cable management, and then of course our bottom hole we're going to cut here for the power supply and stuff. So I wanted something to be able to go around them holes so we didn't have a bunch of jagged edges. So I just tried it in here just to see how it would work, if it would stay in place, and it actually worked pretty good. As you can see, the outer band is probably a little thicker than what you would get with the MNPC Tech stuff, but still good enough for our purposes, and the price was right, so I'm not going to complain. But anyway, on our next step here is to get to measuring and cutting, so let me stop this now and we'll see what we can find for. Okay, I found this old case in my scrap pile. It's one that we've already took the side covers off and pretty much started stripping it down, but the top panel here is going to be just about what I need, a little bit bigger than what I need. We can cut that down. It's in pretty good shape. There's one little ding up here in the corner, but I don't think we're going to be using that much of it, so that'll be cut off anyway. I took out 2 screws here for the cage. I'm going to drill the rivets out in the front and remove the hard drive cage, but I think we'll leave the plate right on here so that when we cut the holes for the fans themselves, it has something stationary to hold on to. Otherwise it can be kind of tough to try to hold on to the panel itself and cut it out. So I think we'll get it measured up, figure exactly where we want it placed on here, and then we'll tape it down on here and get the holes cut out for it. And we'll see how it looks on the front of the Antec. Okay, I got my front plate made. This was actually the second one I had to make because the spacing wasn't right on the top and the bottom. On the first one I wasn't real happy with it, so we had to cut out a second piece and get it all drilled out and cut out. This is just kind of a rough copy of it right now. I still have to take a file to it, file all the edges down, get all the burrs off of it. Then I'll probably take my grinder and go around the outer edges, clean that all up good, and then we're probably going to mount it in there with some of that U-channel all the way around it. And that way, with the fans mounted to this plate, there shouldn't be any vibration. This whole plate is going to be rubber mounted, so hopefully that'll alleviate any vibrations we might get from the fans. But as you can see, that's going to open up a lot of space inside that we can mount our fans without having to have the hard drive cages in here. So now a person can put a radiator in here, water cooling pump, reservoir, whatever you want. It's going to offer a lot more room than the stock 900 did. And I'm also thinking that on these fans, I think I'm going to mount them on the outside of it instead of on the inside. Because basically, once you get this front bezel on there, let me stop this for a second so I can pop. Okay, now the front bezel's on there. And as you can see, there's quite a recess here, probably about 2 inches from where the plate is going to be to the edge of the front bezel. So I'm thinking is I'm going to mount the fans on the outside here. That way we'll keep as much space inside. We'll keep this all opened up in here. And then I'm going to add some kind of a screen or a panel right along the outside bezel, and that's going to be our wire mesh or whatever. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to use there yet, but I think I'll just mount that onto the exterior and then have the fans all sitting right here. But we're moving along. Progress is slow. I didn't get the other cuts made yet for the bottom of the PSU or for the back of the motherboard yet, just because what free time I've had, I've really tied up trying to get this front plate made. But hopefully next week we're going to get on to finishing the cutting and stuff on there and get our fabricating work done so we can start getting it all stripped down for paint. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for part 3.